So glad to have you join us on the program. Now, amid the biting economic crisis across Nigeria and in a bid to cut the cost in every way possible, President Bola Tinubu has ordered the full implementation of the Oronsaye report. And the report proposed 12 years ago by the Stephen Oronsaye-led panel suggests the merging, subsuming, scrapping and relocation of several agencies of government. And the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, revealed this to State House correspondents after Monday's Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa. The President has subsequently constituted a committee to implement the mergers, scrapping and relocations within 12 weeks. Submitted in 2012, the Oronsaye report on public sector reforms revealed that there are 541 statutory and non-statutory federal government parastatals, commissions and agencies. Let's listen to the President's special advisor.
The committee would look at the administrative restructuring and also the legislative amendments required to ensure the full implementation of the recommendations. The other aspects of recommendations that have also been passed to the committee to relook at. It's important for us to appreciate the bold approval granted by Mr. President at the Federal Executive Council. This has been a recommendation that has been, I think, in the Nigerian discourse from 2012. We're here in 2024 and it's so been approved, and the aspects that are applicable to mergers, as I said, subsuming and scrapping and relocation of agencies are those that have been so considered arising from the totality of the panel report.
Hadiza Bala Usman there, the President's Special Advisor on Policy. Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined in the studio by the Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Dasuki Ibrahim Arabi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
It's always our pleasure to be here.
And your reforms issue is right on the table of every Nigerian right now. Some of the reforms that you have proposed are in line with the Oronsaye report and some are not in line. But I just want you to take us through this Oronsaye report and how it's about 14 years right now. People say right from when the committee was set up and up until now, it looks like a lot of water has passed under the bridge. Is this report still very, very in tune with the current realities?
Well, thank you very much. I would like to commend His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for taking this bold decision to direct the implementation of the report on the rationalization of ministries, departments and agencies of government, popularly called the Oronsaye report. I want to take us back to history. As at the time that committee was constituted, there was that general call all over the world because of teeming socio-economic problems and challenges all over the world. There was that call on government to reduce cost of governance, ensure prudent utilization of resources, ensure emergence of effective ministries, departments and agencies of government. The totality of this was aimed at improving the quality of life of the common man or citizens of most countries in the world, Nigeria not an exception. This has been part of the agenda of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms and the subsequent governments that have been passing through with us driving public service reforms. So His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan's government came up with this idea to respond to this call that had an international backing and also a domesticated feeling of the impact of those problems that we're facing. Now, Oronsaye's report was not only looking at reducing, merging and scrapping, but it looked at the entire public service to say, what do we need to do to address issues of poor quality of service delivery and other challenges that we're facing. So they came up with this report that suggested merger, demerger, scrapping, many things.
Relocation and all of that.
Yes, relocation and all that. At the end of it, the spirit behind it was not, and I want our viewers to understand, was not just to get people off their jobs or reduce the agencies, or no, but how do we make efficient use of our resources by having a government that is fit for purpose with the required infrastructure in terms of number of agencies to deliver. Now, they came up with this report that was submitted to government, and immediately a white paper production committee was set up, and the white paper was produced, and there the history started. Nothing happened for many years, and when the government of His Excellency Muhammad Buhari came on board, we were asked to review the Bureau of Public Service Reform. So if we're looking at the report, yes, if we're looking at the report, the Bureau of Public Service Reforms was directed to review the report two times.
Okay.
After those 2 times, His Excellency President Buhari called for another review of what has happened. And that happened because we and others had been calling for the implementation of the report. But then the government felt for all these years, a lot of changes must have taken place. A lot of agencies, parastatals were created. So the 3 committees were set up. Amapepo Committee, former head of service. Ebele Okeke Committee, former head of service. Yes, and Goni Ajis Committee, former head of service, that looked at the white paper, what needs to be done, then the agencies that were created after the Oronsaye white paper. Recommendations were made to government on what we need to do to move forward with the implementation of those recommendations that reviewed the white paper. And it has been in the pipeline until when we saw the bold action by the lion from Lagos that came and say yesterday we should proceed with the implementation of those recommendations. And just as the special assistant to the president said, they have picked few elements of the white paper to be implemented. Then possibly this is stage 1. We're expecting stage 2 and 3. You know, apart from demerger, scrapping, movement to or conversion to departments, there are issues of management and staff audit of ministries, departments, and agencies of government, and many other things that the committee had recommended. But I want to put it on record that the reforms we have been driving have come up with much more reforms than the white paper. Okay. And some of the reforms that we've been implementing are in one way or the other picking aspects of the Oronsaye recommendations, and they are being implemented. Let me give you an example. Oronsaye said the Financial Intelligence Unit should be moved out of EFCC and be self.
That's the former NFIU.
Yes, which was a unit in EFCC. Now, if you look at it, it's about 2 years in existence. Yes, and many other things.
As NFIE now, no longer NFIU.
Yes.
Okay, interesting times ahead for several government agencies, and there's palpable fear among those who are heading those agencies now. But of course, what I really wanted you to tell our viewers from our very first question I asked is if this whole report is still in tune with current realities, because so many people are saying that, look, for over a decade now that this report has been in existence with several white papers, that there could have been several things that have happened, and then of course some segments of the report may no longer be feasible. But we saw the permanent secretaries actually meeting with the president, former permanent secretary, so to say, and it looks like they have this feeling that this report can fully be implemented and without challenges. Are you really sure that if the presidency goes ahead to implement this full report, that it wouldn't be looking as if some aspects of it remain out of date? Well,
that was why the 3 committees were constituted by His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari. That was in 2022, and we concluded some of the work in 2023 to review the whole report, then pick those things that are obsolete or have been taken over by events. So this report that has been adopted by the Federal Executive Council is current, is relevant, and I think we can implement it. But you know, implementation comes with a lot of processes and procedures. And just like the spokesman has said, a committee has been put in place. So we expect an implementation plan to be produced almost immediately. And within that space, we expect the committee and government to liaise with the civil society, labor, the legislative arm, the judicial arm of government, so that once decisions are taken, it will have approach of acceptance and approval of all sectors within the service or within government.
And you would be one of the beneficiaries of the agencies, because I mean, Servicom is being subsumed into your BPSR.
Well, I'm not looking at that. What I'm just looking at is the success of Nigeria to finally take decision on that report that was heavily funded by development partners. Lots of resources and work went into the production of that report. So as head of a reform agency and seeing this happening, I think it's a success for not only BPSR, for all citizens of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And one of the criticism is that major agencies that Nigerians are expecting are not necessarily included here. We had expected, for example, the Federal Road Safety will be merged with the police. For example, maybe civil defense merged with the police. Or, you know, the tinkering, the anti-corruption agencies, EFCC and ICPC, for example, people are calling for a merger and all of that. But people say it's just those fringe agencies that are not so much strong. What's happening with the stronger agencies, actually?
Well, no agency of government is small and none is heavy. That was what the report came up with, and that's what the committee submitted, and that's what the president has approved. Now, these reforms and these changes that are taking place are not one-off. If you look at the renewed hope agenda of the present government, reforms. So there are things that will be unfolding every second. And looking at the president's speech, wherever he is talking, he's referring to reforms. We'll reform this. We'll reform. We'll align one. So this is just the beginning. Many other things may come in place. Now, the report and the recommendations were not really looking at big agencies or small agencies, but sectors of the service that need special attention. I think that was what the report looked at.
Now, DG, are you aware that the National Assembly is still investing in the creation of several commissions and agencies as we speak? Because if you go to the National Assembly, both at the House of Reps and Senate, every day you see bills calling for the setting up of commissions, agencies, and all of that. And people keep wondering. So if we're calling for a shrinking and the National Assembly is adding more bills and asking the executive to sign off on creating agencies and
reforms to us,
commissions.
Reforms have DNAs just like human beings that change over time. Now, if you look at the Northeast region 30 years ago, there was no Boko Haram, no insurgency, no problems, no issues. Now, Boko Haram came in place. We are fighting Boko Haram. We are almost eliminating them. Issues came up. The federal government needed to intervene directly. That gave the room for Northeast Development Commission to come on board.
And exactly that's where I was going, because there's Southwest Development Commission now,
Southwest Development Commission,
and all of that.
Yeah. Now, all these agencies are coming up to address peculiar issues. Now, if I take you back to history, there was Lagos City Metropolitan Authority, which was set up in the 60s to lead the development of Lagos as federal capital. Now, it has done its work, it has served its purpose, and it's been scrapped. So if you have FCDA coming up now to address issues around FCT, Abuja, there is nothing wrong with that. So agencies come up and they go dramatically within the system. But I want to tell you that within the recommendations we made in the course of reviewing this stage, there is this emphasis on the need for the executive arm to work closely with the National Assembly, the labor, the media, citizens, and civil society, so there will be total buy-in. Recall that this is about the second exercise that BPSR will be involved in. After the first one, 2005 and 6, we've learned quite a number of lessons that are taking us to issues around sensitization, getting buy-in, and support understanding of people. So Nigerians should be patient with the committee and the team, the government's team, I think all that needs to be done will be done in piecemeal.
Yeah, and of course, my major focus here is why it looks like our federal lawmakers are not in tune with current realities. I'm insisting on this because when you go to the National Assembly, everybody wants to create a university for his constituency, a commission of, a polytechnic, what's it called, a committee or, an institution, just one form of government agency or the other, college of education and all of that. And you keep wondering if they are not in sync with the fact that government doesn't have resources to fund some of them. And some of the universities, for example, that were brought in place by former President Muhammadu Buhari are not properly funded. And yet you are seeing bills every day for the creation of this. So how do we align the executive's thoughts with that of parliamentarians who think that creating agencies, commissions is actually bringing development to their constituency or friends or communities that they love?
Well, we led a delegation of the Bureau that saw the former Chief of Staff, the former Speaker, who is now the current Chief of Staff, on how to build that bridge between executive and legislature. And some wonderful things came out of that. Now, the recommendations that we made, we specifically recommended that a bridge must be built between the executive and the legislature to address some of these issues. And we are glad with the news coming out of the National Assembly, because in the House of Reps, they have created a committee specifically to address public service and institutional reforms in Nigeria. That means they understand the need for reforms and the need for them to help and work with us. And we have been working closely with them to address some of these issues. While I'm not speaking for the legislative arm of government, I may not blame them in one way, because all of them have made their own commitments and they are trying to meet those commitments. But I believe with deepened interaction between legislature and the executive, all of us will understand the need for us to put a stop to this, and work is being done around that. BPSI is working very closely with the legislative arm of government to address this and build that bridge. And we have the assurance of the Senate President and the Speaker that something is going to be done around that. And the membership of the House of Reps Committee on Public Service Reforms and Institutional are working closely with us and other agencies of government to address some of this. And
DG, there are some institutions that will require constitutional amendments for you to be able to merge them or scrap them and all of that. So how do you intend to go about that? How can the president go around it through the Oronsaye report and ensure that you also don't find yourself fighting against the constitution while trying to reform? Yeah,
we are trying very hard to build that bridge. You heard when Hajia Hadiza was referring to legislative backing, and so we are working very hard, very closely with them. From yesterday and today, we've interacted with quite a number of them on this. And I'm assuring you the executive arm will make sure that we get the backing of the legislative arm before we proceed. Certainly, some of them, no action can be taken without legislative approval. And I think they will understand the reasons why government is taking some of these decisions. But it is not the legislative arm only. We are interested in Arise TV, understanding these decisions, supporting them. We are interested in getting the Labour Congress to understand why government is taking these decisions, to get their buy-in. Civil society advocates were asking for their support. And you know we are playing a very prominent role around open government partnership, engagement between citizens and government. And we're assuring you and everybody that whoever is concerned will have a stake to say as we proceed with this assignment.
And how will the Nigerian people benefit from these reforms so that we don't end up creating another agency that will come and be costing us so much at the end of the day? What are the immediate benefits we hope to get?
Recall that I said it was the whole report and the committee came up in response to socio-economic problems facing public services all over the world. So in this process, as the report is being implemented, we are going to have a slimmer, more efficient institutions of government that will deliver faster, quicker, and more efficient service to the citizens. Gone are those days that things will go wrong and we'll just be looking at them. The society, the leadership of government, and even international community is interested in how we work and what we do. And remember that the world now is a global room, not even a village. Yeah. So development partners, international agencies, ranking agencies are following not only Nigeria, all countries in the world, especially developing countries. So we want to succeed, we want to be recognized, we must keep doing what is right. Yeah,
as we try to round off this conversation, DG, you and I know that the major fear among some people is that there will be job losses. And President Tinubu will likely be accused of actually sending more people to the unemployment market if he undertakes this full implementation of the report. How do we work around that matter of job losses? What could see the labor unions coming for you and both the president too?
Yeah, yes, thank you for that. I'm not a member of the Federal Executive Council, but we have been working for a very long time on this report, and we'll make sure that whoever is relevant remains within the service. And you hear that the information minister said there will be little or no loss of jobs. So the centrality or the central objective of this process and work is not to get people out of job, but to get more efficient public institutions of government delivering efficient service to the citizens of this country. And if some of us will have to lose their positions and jobs, and by the other side, that will improve efficiency of government and reducing cost of governance. Well, why not? But I don't think that is the aim of that report, and I don't think that it's going to happen, because even Oronsaye, when he made the first report, he said government must also ensure minimum loss of jobs in the process of carrying out this implementation. And
you have been in this reform business for quite some time. Why is it that it's easier for you to create a government agency, but much more difficult to actually pack up a government agency, even when it has finished its assignment or job? There are so many institutions that were moribund institutions. Some are still existing since the 70s. And people are asking what exactly they are doing. For example, the Public Complaints Commission. People are saying that Nigerians have 1 million complaints every day, and yet there's a Public Complaints Commission. What exactly is it doing? And people keep complaining.
Well, I think
why is it difficult to actually scrap an agency of government even when it has finished its assignment?
I think you eat the kind of food that you want to eat. If there is no week that will pass without the rule receiving a complaint from that agency, people writing from different parts of the country to them.
And people also feel that they are also not resolving any problem. What's the use of complaining when there's no answer available?
All the letters that came to us from that commission to BPSR, we have listened and we have responded to all of them and solved all the problems that have come. But that is not to say there is justification for them to stay or not to stay. I think where the service and the country is evolving, we're changing over time. Beyond this, before this time, it's been difficult to do some of these things, but you can see that government said, okay, NAPEB, yes, you have come, you have done what you want, thank you very much, you can go. And it closed it down with little or no problem. So, and after that, many are passing through the process. I don't think it will be difficult, and we're getting more enlightened and more civilized the way other institutions of government in other parts of the world are being managed, and we're getting more patriotic.
And just before I let you go, how are you also preparing some of the ministries that will be receiving some of these agencies? Because some of them are already complaining of not having enough hands to be able to run the ministries. but now you're shifting some agencies or commissions into them. So how would you be building their capacity ahead of receiving those commissions?
Well, we expect the inauguration of the committee to happen, and the committee will decide how that will be done. But the Bureau had published quite a number of books to guide things like this. One of them is how to merge and demerge ministries, departments, and agencies of government, which is a publication of the Bureau. We have produced quite a number of materials, and we have, over the years built a strong network of people that have passed through the Bureau that are in different parts of the country still working, are relevant, and we're always ready, based on the takings of the committee, to handhold the MDAs and especially the ministries. You can see that the head of civil service is a member of the committee to assist the secretary to the government of the federation. So I'm assuring us of seamless transition where it's necessary.
And of course, several Nigerians keep wondering if the agencies are also not bearing the same name, because I remember when the BPSR was created, so many people were confused at some point if it wasn't sounding like BPE and all of that. So there's always that confusion. In a nutshell, how courageous do you think this decision is to be able to ensure that a president takes this decision? Because I mean, I'm saying this from the angle of politics. Several people, including from the ministries, playing one politics or the other. This agency should not be removed from me. This looks like a cash cow for us, and we shouldn't be sent there. I don't want to lose my job as a DG and just go and become a director or whatever. How courageous is such a decision by a president?
I commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for taking this decision. It was a courageous move, and that has just gone to show how committed he is to the cause of Nigeria as a nation.
All right, I know you're a public servant. You don't want to delve into politics, so you've given me a political answer. But we must thank you so much, DG, who has been helping us to understand what's going on with the proposed reforms. Dasuki Arabi is the Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Nigeria's #1 reform-centered agency. And we just wish you well and hope that at the end of the day,
thank you very much.
This process goes on seamlessly so that the Nigerian people actually be the biggest beneficiary. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having us.